All right, let's get right into it. If you've ever written an automated test, you know the pain. You write this perfect script, you watch it run, it's flawless, and then it fails. For no reason. You run it again, it passes. Run it again, it fails. That kind of flakiness, that frustration, we're going to talk about how Playwright makes that whole problem just disappear. Yeah, does this look familiar? You're staring at a failed test run, trying to figure out how a button click failed when you know the button was there. This is probably the single biggest headache in all of test automation, and almost every single time it all boils down to timing. And this slide right here, this tells the entire story. On the left, you've got the old way. You're just peppering your code with time.sleep, basically guessing, right? You're just hoping the element shows up in time. It's slow, it's unreliable, and honestly, it's a nightmare to maintain. But on the right, that's the Playwright way. It's clean, it's direct. So how on earth does it work without all those messy, arbitrary waits? Well, it all comes down to this core concept that is, and I'm not exaggerating, an absolute game changer. It's Playwright's built-in auto-wait mechanism. And this isn't just some nice little feature, it is the very foundation that makes your tests stable and reliable right from the start. So here's the key idea. Before Playwright does anything, like before it clicks a button or fills in a form, it automatically waits. But it doesn't just wait for the element to exist in the HTML code. No, it waits for it to be actually ready for a real person to interact with it. I love this analogy because it just makes so much sense. Think about it, right? You don't get into a self-driving car and say, okay, now wait 2 seconds for the green light. You just tell it where to go. The car's systems, they handle all the traffic lights, the pedestrians, all the timing. Playwright is exactly the same. You just give it a destination, that's your locator, and a command, and its auto-wait system handles all that complex synchronization for you. And look, this isn't some kind of black magic. It's just really smart engineering. What auto-wait is doing under the hood is running a series of what we call actionability checks. Before it even thinks about clicking a button, it's asking, hey, is this thing actually visible on the screen? Is it enabled or is it grayed out? And really important, has it stopped moving around or animating? Only when the answer to all of these questions is a solid yes will Playwright finally perform the action. Okay, so that's the theory. That's the secret sauce that makes Playwright so incredibly stable. Now, let's see what this actually looks like when we're writing code. How do we put this into practice? These are your bread and butter, your main tools. You find an element, and then you tell it what to do. You can click a button, you can fill a text field with some data, you can hover your mouse over something to make a menu pop up, you can check a box, you get the idea. Each one of these is simple, and it maps directly to what a real user would do on the page. So here's what that looks like in a real test for a login form. The code is super clean, it's easy to read, but most importantly, look at what's not there. There are no manual waits. Every single line here, the fill commands, that click command at the end, is secretly using that powerful auto-wait mechanism. Playwright is going to wait for the username field to be ready, fill it out, then wait for the password field to be ready, fill that out, and finally it'll wait for that login button to be fully clickable before it ever tries to press it. It is robust by default. All right, lean in for this one, because this is a pro tip that will save you literally countless hours of work. You notice how in that last example, we use things like getByRole and name. That's because the absolute best tests interact with the page just like a person would. A user looks for a button that says log in. They don't care about its complicated CSS path. When you use these user-facing locators, your tests stop breaking every single time a developer decides to change a color or move a div around. Now, knowing what you should do is half the battle. The other half is knowing what not to do. So let's cover the most common mistakes, the rookie traps that can completely undermine all the power that Playwright gives you. I see this all the time. It's almost always a habit that people carry over from older, clunkier tools. What do you think it is? What is the single biggest error that otherwise smart engineers make when they first start using Playwright? This, right here, adding a time.sleep. It is such a hard habit to break, I get it. But in Playwright, it's not just unnecessary, it's actually harmful. You are actively fighting against the auto-wait system. It's like telling that self-driving car to just stop for 5 seconds at every single intersection, even when the light is green. It just makes your tests slow, and ironically, it makes them more brittle, not less. A couple of other big ones. Using those fragile locators we just talked about, the super long, specific ones that break if someone sneezes on the code. And the other is forgetting about actionability. Just because an element exists in the HTML somewhere doesn't mean a user can actually click it.
If it's hidden or disabled, Playwright is going to correctly wait, and your test will eventually time out, which is exactly what should happen, because a real user would be stuck too.
All right, we've covered a ton of ground, from the magic of auto-wait all the way to the practical side of rating clean, stable tests. Let's boil it all down to the essentials you need to walk away with. If you don't remember anything else from this, I want you to remember these 3 keys to success.
Number 1, trust auto-wait. I cannot say this enough. Go on a search and destroy mission for every single time.sleep in your code, and let Playwright do its job. Number 2, think like a user. Always use locators that a person would use to find something. Things like roles, text, and labels. It makes your tests fundamentally stronger. And third, remember that Playwright is simulating real user behavior. It creates trusted events that the browser literally can't tell apart from a real person clicking and typing. This is what makes your tests so incredibly realistic and reliable.
And that is it. It might sound simple, but really internalizing these 3 principles, trusting auto-wait, using user-facing locators, and thinking like a user, that is what will put you in the absolute top tier of automation engineers. You will write tests that are faster, more reliable, and so much easier to maintain than ever before. You've got this.